things that some of these schools are saying right now, and I worry some schools are moving towards, is we'll let people in if their documents say F. And I really wanted to directly address this because I think there's like a bunch of like severe misunderstandings underlying this framework that it could be useful if we're all conversant in, right? Like we all want to be able to like ready with the talking points on this one, since I assume you're all going to go out and be advocates for bar to become more aligned with our feminist beliefs about gender oppression in higher ed, right? So there's a couple things that are wrong with this. If you have the idea like, yeah, sure, anybody who applies who's got F on their documents can come to Barnard, we've got a couple of major problems. One is that every identity document issuing agency in the United States has its own rule about whether you can change your gender on it, and if so, how. So if when you were born, they put something like, say, M on your birth certificate, from there, and you have numerous other documents that are produced that have that letter on it, or that have that in the records, like your Social Security Administration documentation and your driver's license, and maybe a passport if you have one. All the different documents a person might have, benefits card if you get public benefits, all the different things you might have. Each of those agencies in each jurisdiction has its own rules about whether you can change your gender and if so, right? So one thing is that two people who are in the same situation won't have the same experience. If one person is born in Tennessee, you can't ever change your gender on your birth certificate in Tennessee. Another person is born in New York State, there's a certain rule upstate, there's a different rule in the city. I mean, right, so that's a problem because there's no there. There's no such thing as a legal gender. This is like a kind of common mistake a lot of people don't understand. In reality, there's a huge administrative matrix of different rules. The other thing about it is that people who are college age are very unlikely to have, even if they happen to live in all jurisdictions and have all pieces of ideas that potentially could change, to have been able to change that. Because many jurisdictions in some way or another require you to produce a lot of evidence of healthcare to change some of these pieces of ID. Again, they're all different. But most people who are college age have not had access to that kind of healthcare, and especially not if they're low income. More likely if they're people of color, people with disabilities, these people are all more intensely denied access to healthcare. And also, if you're under 18, it's very hard to get most healthcare without your parental consent. The majority of trans people do not have support from their families about their trans identities, especially. So there's numerous ways in which having any rule that ties who Barnard sees as an applicant to any kind of government document is going to be super, more exclusive for people of color, low-income people, younger applicants, like people who are typical college-age applicants, and people with disabilities. So those are all reasons why this is a bad idea, in addition to the fact that we're feminists. We don't believe the government tells you what gender is, right? Our whole thing is fighting bad ideas the government has about what gender is, right? That's been our project forever, right? So the idea of saying, well, just let the people over at Social Security or over at the DMV of Virginia decide whether or not you get to come to Barnard. That's not a principled approach to the project of education that's against gender oppression.